Hello, it's Lisa Carr with Inside to Potential and day 3 of our 5-day challenge in our Parent Leader Tribe. And so today, our hot button topic is around keeping track of your child's progress at school. And again, very important that you're speaking to your child, and that's obviously one of the ways in which you're going to keep track of the progress. But there's a whole host of other things that maybe you've considered or not considered before. And so really this is where I want to talk to you a little bit about your intuition and really knowing your child. It's really important that you have those conversations with your child each and every day about school, so that when something is a little bit off, you kind of get the sense, you know your child, you know them by the language that they're using, that something's just not right. You want to be really attuned to the kinds of words that they're using, the description of the school, the description of friends and recess time and lunchtime, and you have the classroom teacher and those sorts of things. And you also want to watch out for how often they're doing homework, how much time they're spending on their homework, the quality of the work that they're doing. If they're giving you a hard time about doing homework, that can certainly alert you to your child's progress at school. And then certainly you want to be looking at report cards, parent-teacher interviews, and any other behavioral challenges that you might see. Could be changes that are happening at home. Maybe it's just a high frustration level, something that's not typical, lashing out, getting frustrated really easily, getting angry really easily, not wanting to talk about school. So you really just want to really tune in to your child, ask them those critical questions each and every day, so that way when things do kind of, or if those things, something kind of goes amiss, you're able to pick up on it right away before the problem becomes too big. And so if you suspect that something's going on, or you're worried because you're starting to see some signs or symptoms that there may be a problem, or it's just kind of chipping away at you, here's some questions that you can ask your child to see if they are experiencing any kind of difficulty. And so the first one is, how would you describe your school year this year compared to last year? Is it the same? Was it better? Is it worse? What do you like about this school year compared to last year? You might also want to ask the question, what did you do at lunch today? Who did you hang out with? What kind of activities did you do? And so that could give you a sense of what's going on. Perhaps there's a situation where they're being bullied, or they're being excluded from the group, or they're spending a lot of time alone. So asking what they're doing during their recess time or their lunchtime can give you some indicators as to whether or not they are enjoying their schooling experience. And then you can also ask some curriculum questions. What did you learn today in science? What did you learn today in math? If they're unable to tell you, they're clearly distracted by something else. And so again, that's another indicator that there could be something wrong. And so you'll want to ask those critical questions. I keep going back to the same point over and over again, and you've heard in the last 2 videos how important it is to establish a positive rapport with your child's school. And it's really important that you take the time every year, and I know that it tends to decline over time. As a school principal, I was able to see, when parents enroll their children in kindergarten, they would come out to everything. And then by the time the child got into grade 5 or grade 6, they come out to nothing. And so really you want to maintain consistency over the course, at least of your child's elementary school years, going out to those events. Even if your child doesn't want to hang out with you, or they have a group of kids that they meet up with and run off when they get up into the older grades, that's fine. But just showing that you're interested, knowing who the key staff are. Who's your child's classroom teacher? Who's the principal? Who's the vice principal? Who are your support teachers? who can you ask for assistance in the event that your child may be struggling. And so it's really incumbent upon you as a parent to get to know who those people are that are interacting with your child each and every day. If your school uses the agenda system, I cannot express to you enough how important it is for you to look at your child's agenda each and every day. And I would even go so far as to sign on it each and every day, even if it's not required of you, just as a little monitoring system for yourself that you know that you've checked. If your child's coming home with an agenda that's completely blank each and every day, that's a problem. Your child should not be coming home with a blank agenda, ever. There should be something in it somewhere. And so that would be a phone call to the child's teacher, your child's teacher, and saying, hey, I noticed Joe's not coming home with any homework or anything written in his agenda. Can you help me out a little bit here? Am I missing something? Does he not have time to get it done? Is he, ask those questions. Is he fooling around? Is he not paying attention? Is he not writing things down? Are there projects and things that I should know about? And so you'll really want to follow up with your child's agenda. Make sure that, and this is a principal pet peeve, I just let you in on a little secret. Make sure that you're reading all about what's happening in your child's school. There's all kinds of activities for you. Principals and teachers cannot do what they do on their own. They need you as their critical partner. If they're telling you that you're not welcome or you're not a critical part of your child's education or the school as a whole, that's a problem. That's a big problem that may even need to be solved at a higher level. Certainly worthy of a conversation with the school principal. But you are a critical part of your child's education. You are a critical part of the school environment, not just in the context of your child's classroom, but in the school as a whole. And how do you get involved? How do you know what's going on? How do you know what events are coming up or what you can participate in or whatever? You have to read the newsletters that are coming home. If you're not getting a newsletter, if you're not getting communication, then you need to contact the school because something should be coming home to you at least on a monthly basis. With technology being what it is, many schools have moved to electronic communication. And so a lot of times the newsletters will be posted online as opposed to coming home in your child's backpack. Please make sure you're checking on your school's website. Why? In my experience, a lot of times parents had difficulty anyway with the paper newsletters only because they're at the bottom of your child's backpack, drowned out in the juice box that you sent with your child, that they shoved back into the backpack and exploded all over everything. And you have kind of like a soggy wet noodle with lots of ink running all over the place and nothing for you to read. So a lot of people have moved to the electronic system of either posting newsletters, doing real online videos for you, regular news feeds, communicating with you via Twitter or through a blog, and so that you're getting real-time information. You might seem to think like, they're sending a lot of information all the time and it's boring and it doesn't necessarily pertain to me. And maybe that's the case. But to really be involved and get to know what's happening in your child's school, maybe don't read it every day per se, if a lot of it doesn't have to do with you, but you should be checking in with it at least every other day or at least on a weekly basis so you can get caught up and you don't miss on any of the events that are coming up that you can possibly be involved with. And certainly you will want to read your child's teacher's information. I know that many of us principals have asked our classroom teachers, the classroom teachers, to send out information as it pertains to what to expect with curriculum on a monthly basis, what's going on in the classroom, posting pictures. Many of them have turned to apps like Remind to be able to communicate with parents over text messaging. I know many teachers have gone to video, and they've also gone to their own personal websites and blogs to communicate with you. This is critical for you. You need to have that information in order to keep abreast of what's happening. So when you see certain things happening at home with your child, you can kind of pair that up with the information that the school is sending out, and have some greater pieces of information available to you to kind of piece things together and get a sense of whether or not it's something that you should be worried about, and follow up with the school. If there is a problem, don't wait. It's the worst possible thing for you as a parent to do is to wait. Because what ends up happening is there's a snowball effect that happens. Things get bigger than what they need to be. There's miscommunications that happen, misunderstandings, and the next thing you know, you have a huge problem instead of something that was really small and simple and could have been solved in a 5-minute meeting. Teachers are more than happy to meet with you as well as school principals and resolve those quick problems, as opposed to waiting for those really big things. So if there's a problem, don't wait, make that appointment. And feel free to advocate for your child. It's the school's responsibility to provide services that they have available to them for your child, especially if they're struggling. If you feel that your child needs more support, if you feel that your child needs an assessment of some kind, if you feel like you need something different than what your child is getting, then you need to make that appointment, sit down and see what services are available. If the school or the teacher says that those services aren't available to you, it's just not something within the realm of what they provide, ask them for their support in terms of recommendations. They will be able to refer you to outside agencies and resources, at least they should, outside agencies and resources within your community that you can access to get help for your child, and then be able to go back and communicate to the school. And so looking for those referrals to services, if they don't have them, asking for them, that's your job as a parent, advocating for your child and looking for or making those opportunities to get all of the resources that you're entitled to, and really that your child's entitled to for their ultimate success. Now, if your child is experiencing problems, there's a few things that I want you to, strategies I want to give to you that can help you along. So the very first thing you can do is provide a supportive home. And that means that we're not necessarily if we know that there's a problem, we don't want to get down on our children for not being the A+ student. Really, we want to be open with them, keep lines of communication open, keep asking those important questions, and keeping that positive rapport and positive speak towards your child's school and your child's classroom teacher. You absolutely, absolutely want to minimize any absences from school. This only puts your child further behind, and it kind of makes the problem worse because then you're piling on because they're in a constant state of having to catch up. Absences should be kept to a minimum at all times. Don't only praise your child for the A or the best possible mark. If you know your child is a struggling learner or going through a challenging time, make sure that you are praising effort and that you are praising the attempts. Those can be just as valuable, if not more so, because it shows how you are supporting your child, that you care about them, and that it's not always about the A. It's about what they're willing to do, the effort, the work that they're putting in, and that they're trying. And the last thing that you really want to do is have them give up by not acknowledging the steps that they are able to take in that moment, by not offering that praise or that acceptance or that support. You also want to celebrate progress over perfection. Not every single child is going to be an A. guess what? Not every single child is going to be a B. Sometimes they are just going to be a C or a D student, and it's okay because that's their very best. And again, it goes back to celebrating progress, celebrating the baby steps that they're making, celebrating that effort. They don't have to be perfect to be loved. That's the wrong message that we want to send our child. We don't want them to be aiming for something that they can't achieve and then beating themselves up on the inside because they're not meeting our unrealistic expectations of who they are. So celebrating progress over perfection is definitely one of those recommendations I would make to you. If you know your child is capable of more and your child is willing and open to it, and it's part of the strategy that you want to use, you might want to consider having a tutor. Your child might really enjoy that. And it may take some pressure off you as well as the parent to have to be in the supportive, loving role, and then also having to work with your child on homework, which may cause some frustration for your child and put you in a combative stance with your child. So bringing in that third party to kind of take care of that homework piece while you remain the loving, supportive, and in the cheerleader piece might really be the combination that your child may need in order to be make those positive progressive steps that you want them to take. And then finally, you know what? All of our kids are different. And I guess a pet peeve of mine really is only acknowledging a child that has academic value, because really there's more to life than just academics. We have all kinds of people out there, and we need all kinds of people out there to make our world be what it is. And so we need our artists, and we need our musicians, and we need our people that are in design and construction and building and working with robotics and machinery. And we need people who are athletes, and we need people who are entertainers. And so it's really important that you engage your child in other activities outside of the academic world. And so if your child could be a D student, but be the most brilliant dancer, actor, singer, stage performer. Well, you have to celebrate that. That's not something that you can turn your back on and walk away because they're not achieving an A at school. That's not what life is about. And really, you're setting yourself up for some pretty big disappointment, some strife between you and your child. And it certainly doesn't set you up with a good rapport with the school either. You really want to take the time to engage your child in those extra activities and kind of find out what they're passionate about and what they're really good at outside of school, so that you have something to build them up, to give them their confidence, to engage their passion, to make them feel alive, and to make them feel that they're worthy despite the fact that education may not necessarily be their thing. And you know what? It's important, and I won't dismiss that. I won't discredit it. And if your child is an A+ student, if they're a gifted student, if they are an academic, that's awesome. But the athlete is awesome too. And the artist is awesome too. And the stage performer is awesome too. And, the dramatic arts and the construction people and the design people. And so taking those opportunities and exposing your child to everything possible to engage them in your passion is going to make them a very well-rounded human being, and let them know that you love them unconditionally, regardless of how they're doing at school, because you celebrate them as a whole person and not just what they're able to achieve at school. And so those are my best strategies and tips for you on day 3 in terms of keeping an eye on your child at school. And in day 4 and day 5, a little bit more heavier in terms of topics, we're going to take a look at giftedness, learning disabilities and learning challenges, and different supports and things that you need to be aware of as a parent should your child actually have some different kinds of challenges. And so we'll be looking at that on day 4 and day 5. So as usual, we have some questions for you. I can't wait to interact with you online and have other parents chime in as well. And again, it's still open. Please feel free to invite friends to join the Facebook group, the Parent Leader Tribe, where we are able to connect as a community of parents so that we can be strong and support our children through these years when they are in school, so that they are happy and healthy and emotionally well. And so for now, ciao for now. And we'll see you on day 4. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.